Welcome in to the Pigskin Preview presented by PrizePicks. Happy Halloween! Luckett, where's your costume? You didn't get the memo? What's going on?
No costume here on my end.
Right, right. No, I'm not betting the Oregon Ducks this weekend. I'm not going to keep that thing on, but
I feel like you have to. Like you just have to lay the points in the big house
I
at this
got to
point.
now. If it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, might as well be a duck. But I'm fired up for this edition because not necessarily the college football. We got Breeders' Cup this weekend. Got to scratch my horse racing itch, so I've got a few best bets for you on the end of the show. But look at this is a college football preview show, so we need to start there. Um, First and foremost, 2 in 1 week. Scratching, we're calling back. Our prize picks play last week hit. Got another one of those cooked up for you all. So I'm fired up. And the slate, it isn't inspiring, but we've got a couple really intriguing SEC matchups. And I'm fascinated by A&M at South Carolina because we've seen what South Carolina's front can do to teams, and they've been, if I'm not mistaken, they've been pretty good against A&M in this series at Williams-Brice Stadium. And we also don't know who Texas A&M is going to be playing at quarterback. So I don't know really what's going to happen there. I don't have any sort of lean one way or another, but it is a fascinating game, and I wouldn't be surprised if Shane Beamer plays spoiler and knocks off the only team unbeaten in SEC play.
It's November, or not. Will be November, and that's typically when Beamer's teams play their best. Um, if A&M plays Marcel Reed, I think I like A&M there, Nick,
Mm-hmm.
because it's not the traditional drop back. But if they play Wegman, I think South Carolina's got a real chance there in what'll be a total, I think, slugfest between those two teams. And so
Total
that
is
that is
44.
yeah. The card it's a weird card because you don't have like the latest game's 8:30, 8 or 8:30 on the card. You don't have
No,
anything in the after dark window.
that's a bummer. Um,
It,
and
and
you
like
have the big noon game,
that's what I was getting at. Yeah,
the biggest game of the week, right? Ohio State at Penn State to start things off. So I'm fascinated by that matchup. I don't. None of us have Arkansas either, do we?
I do not. I'm not playing them this week. Ole Miss is typically really good as a road favorite under Kiffin. So, but there's a lot of trends going Arkansas's way. We could talk about if you want to.
I mean, they've been good as a dog, and they're at home. But I just saw the line. It went from 7 to 7.5. It looks like there's some sharp money coming in on the Rebels. What sort of trends you
Yeah,
got in that game for us, like it?
yeah. Kiffin's 9-4. ATS is a road favorite at Ole Miss. Arkansas 10-1 ATS in the last 11 meetings in this series. Home team has covered the last 5 in this series. Um, and then Arkansas, everyone knows the dog stats: 21-9-1 under Pittman.
Pretty good.
Yeah, and this game always that feels like the Ole Miss Arkansas game. Something like it could go to Banana Land. Like the odds of it going to Banana Land are high. And isn't that I think that's a nooner. You've got Purdue, not Purdue, well, we're going to talk about Purdue Northwestern later. You've got Penn State. You got Manny Diaz returning to Miami at noon.
Yeah.
Ohio State, Penn State, like we mentioned. The Diego Pavia trying to beat Auburn again in that early window. The 3:30 window, Nick, is stinky. I mean, it's about as stinky at the 3:30 window as you can get. But I actually like some of these night games, like USC Washington is intriguing, Wisconsin Iowa. Big game for me. I need Iowa win there. Louisville Clemson's intriguing.
Yep.
And then Pitt at SMU is a big game in the ACC race. So
Who would have pegged that in the preseason? That Pitt SMU would be a pivotal turning point game for who ultimately is going to go to the ACC championship game.
yeah, and this also tells you how much ESPN thinks of the ACC. They stuck that game on the ACC network. It's arguably the biggest game the ACC has had yet. It'll be one of the 3 or 4 biggest games they'll have all season, and it gets the 8 o'clock ACC network treatment. No offense to Wes Durham and Tom Luganbill on the call, but it
Yeah.
feels like that should have got a bigger window than where they stuck it.
Oh man. But you know what? We're gonna watch. We're gonna be fired up to watch. I want to go ahead and just dive right into our picks because I have the biggest game of the week as one of my picks, that Penn State Ohio State game. Sorry, Peak. I jumped in line. I apologize. I just feel like that's going to be a juiced environment for a big game. We're going to get a sloppy start between Penn State and Ohio State, slow things down. Ohio State's got injuries. Their left tackle, two of their left tackles have gotten injured. I don't know the status of that second one, but they were unable to run the ball against Nebraska. They're going to have an even stouter run defense with Penn State this week. This one just feels like a slobber knocker. And if Ohio State has to go to the air, they've got to go up against the best pass defense, top 20 pass defense, the best one they faced so far. So I just feel like this is a sit on it. That's going to be a slobber knocker. I don't know if I trust James Franklin enough to get it done. Because it's like James Franklin and Ryan Day. It's a Spider-Man meme of who wants to lose big games or not here. But Ohio State has had Penn State's number. I think it's going to be a slobber knocker. So give me Penn State, Ohio State under 45.
Yeah, the under in this meeting's 5-1, the last 6.
Perfect.
This one, I just like what is going on here. You've got the Ohio State injuries. You've got the Penn State injuries. Like, what's going on with Alar? Like,
feels like he's going to play, but they also might want to play the other guy too, Probola.
Yeah, who knows what's going on. From the most entertaining angle would be Ohio State losing.
Oh yeah,
and seeing the takes on Ryan Day, because that would almost knock them out of the hunt. I mean, they would be close to getting in.
That would also keep alive the scenario for Oregon to be an undefeated team that isn't playing in the Big Ten championship. So that's in play. That's a hilarious scenario, and it's unrelated completely. But just thinking of crazy scenarios. Did you see the new bracket for the Sun Belt Conference tournament?
I did. I didn't really understand what was going on there.
We always make fun of the West Coast Conference tournament, but this thing, I mean, it is like you can get like a six bye. It's not a sextuple bye. They're just like, all right, if you do well in the regular season, we're going to try our best to reward you. And they've really staggered it out. It's very hilarious. So go check that out. But that is one of my picks this week. Sorry if we're going out of order, Peak. Who do you got for your first pick, Mr. Luckett?
Yeah, Nick, my 7-month-old is not sleeping very well right now. He's up every hour of the night. So I'm not sleeping at all. Really, I don't know if you could tell. So these picks, I'm shooting from the hip a little bit. These might change. Like last week I played Virginia. They didn't appear in the column. Which was about 7-3 finished last week. Really good week. Make sure you check that out on KSR Plus. Be up Friday. So I'm just shooting from the hip. And when I shoot from the hip, give me Northwestern +1 at Purdue in a classic Big Ten nooner, the two worst teams in that conference. I'm going to take Northwestern because I think they have a better coach. And I just trust them more to do what it takes to win a football game than I do Purdue. So Northwestern +1. While we're driving to Knoxville and you want to know the Penn State score, we will have the Northwestern radio call on for Northwestern Purdue.
The grass is going to be 6 inches high. They're going to be moving around at the speed of smell. It's going to be a big, ugly, stinky game. And I love that you're just embracing the stink. I'm going to go to a game that I think will get weird, which has a very classic Big Ten nooner stink to it as well, but it's actually going to be at 3:30. And that is Indiana at Michigan State, where I think it's a little bit of a hairy spot here because, I mean, for as much as you had everyone patting you on the back for game day last week, you delivered with defense while your starting quarterback was out. Curtis Rourke looks like he's going to be back for this game, but Michigan State is a plucky dog at home. That Iowa game I did not see coming. And Aiden Childs is a pretty fun quarterback. I don't think they're necessarily playing good football, but I think this one could get weird, and I think we could go over. It's really like I see 3 out of the 4 outcomes are possible. Like Michigan State pulls off the upset, Indiana gets scared. It's a scare. They win close, or Indiana blows them out and they score 50 points. But I think in all of those scenarios, the over is in play. Indiana's gone over in 5 of their 7 games. Michigan State's gone over in their last 2. So I'm going to ride with my man Scooter Dingus. He's been playing IU overs all year. All you got to do is get, Indiana 31-24 would get you home here. And that kind of feels like what that final score is going to be. So give me the over in Indiana at Michigan State.
No real comment from me other than you need the peacock to watch this game.
Not the cock.
But, I'm sick of this weather, Nick. This is Indiana at Michigan State November. This needs to be nasty, crummy weather, and it's going to be in the 50s.
Oh, yeah. We need 40, overcast, rain, gray skies.
No wind. Just, a great fall day, and I'm sick of it. This is ridiculous. Pick it up, Mother Nature. Because I'm wanting to play some weather unders. I'm still waiting to play my first weather under. And we're in week 10, and I haven't gotten to play one. It's absolutely ridiculous.
I do love, too, you said this, and it's like the first time it's rained in the state of Kentucky in 3 weeks, and it's happening right now. This is the first dreary fall day we've had. So you're wanting more of this.
It was 80 degrees yesterday.
I had to turn the air conditioning on.
I still got to cut the damn grass here. I'm sick of this. What is going on?
Oh, all right, Luckett, who you got next?
All right. Tired Adam does not like weather. But ACC. No weather needed no weather report needed in the dome. But I'm going to give me the road favorite. Virginia Tech -4 at Syracuse. Syracuse, as you know, season win total under. Nick, I think this is a flawed football team, as you found out last week.
Yep.
They can't run the ball, and they put a lot on Kyle McCord. I just think Virginia Tech's a better football team. Virginia Tech's quietly got it rolling a little bit here. Really, since that they should have won the Miami game, and then they've handled their business. But I think 3 double-digit victories in a row in ACC play. I think they have a chance to maybe get a 4. So I like the Hokies on the road here, and I'm going to lay the 4 points with Virginia Tech.
Okay. Keep on fading that Syracuse train. I don't hate it whatsoever. I'll let you. How about you do a back-to-back pick so we can spend some more time talking about my last one? Let's go ahead and do that. Who's pick number 3 for you?
Another stinker. Winless in the Big 12, Oklahoma State +3. Getting Arizona State at home. Mike Gundy, this is his first time as a home dog this year, Nick. And they are 8-3 ATS at home as a dog since 2016. They should have beat BYU. Baylor's playing a lot better than people realize, I think, right now. And they played them on the road last week. Their offense has gotten rolling a little bit. I like them here. Arizona State felt like a team that was probably not as good as their record there for a little bit. Lost to Cincinnati. Kenny Dillingham's mad at his kicker. Bye week, dealing with quarterback injuries. Give me the Pokes. I think they win outright. So I'm going to take the +3 there in Stillwater.
They got to win one eventually. They were one of the top choices to win that conference. They still haven't got one. They got to win one eventually. For my last game, I have invested in a few different scenarios. Some might say it's an emotional hedge. But I don't have a lot of confidence going into Knoxville. If you've been paying any attention to me this week, you can take Tennessee -16.5. I'm going to go with something even more depressing here. And that is just Kentucky under 13.5 points in Knoxville. They haven't scored more than 20 points in SEC play. Tennessee hasn't given up 20 points all year. I don't know how they score unless they get some sort of special teams touchdown. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good at all. Yes, you're going to get Demi Sumo-Carme back, but you're playing a redshirt freshman at right tackle. He's probably going to get beat quite a few times. If you get in any obvious passing situations, they're going to eat. This very much could be like the South Carolina game where you just get wrecked from the jump and there's no way to recover from there. So That's how I feel about this game. Look at I'm not very bullish on the Kentucky offense whatsoever.
Yeah, I think it's going to be extremely hard for Kentucky to run the football. I think it's going to be extremely hard for them to protect against this Tennessee pass rush. But they are like Tennessee's big weakness is in the secondary when I've kind of dug in this week. In the first good passing offense to like be able to protect, I think could give them some problems. Like when I look like if they had to play Ole Miss or LSU in the league play, I think those teams could give them some issues, but they didn't draw any
Maybe
of them.
Texas. Yeah.
Maybe Texas.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, and then you look at the rest of their schedule, they don't really play. You know, they play
Georgia.
Georgia. Georgia's
Yeah.
drop back passing has not been great this year. So they've played a schedule where they really haven't faced a good drop. Like Alabama's probably the best one they faced, and Milroe kept throwing touchdown or interceptions in the red zone.
Yeah.
So that is the advantage here. So like the prop I like is Dane Key over receiving yards. This has been a go-to. I think you can get it right at 50. You can get over 60 for plus odds. The one thing Kentucky does well is throw it to Key, and he's getting double-digit targets in all these games. So if he just gets to 5 catches, he's probably going over 50 yards. So that's what I like from Kentucky's side. Anything else, it's just tough to see on that end. And then what I'm interested in is Tennessee hasn't scored a first-half point in 3 games.
Yeah.
But
That's why, like, if Kentucky played their Ole Miss game, there actually is a formula to beat Tennessee if you can get off to a good start and stop the run. But not having De'Aaron Jackson or J.J. Weaver to help set the edge and run fit when run fits have been their biggest issue.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, in the last 3 meetings since Heupel, they've scored in 5 plays or less on their first possession.
Kentucky might be the antidote that ails Tennessee in their offense, and that's
maybe
first quarter.
Like that's when an immovable object meets a unstoppable force or whatever that saying is. That's what that feels like. So I'll be interested. First quarter is very interesting to me.
Yeah,
because recent games tell you to play Tennessee first quarter -3.5.
Mm-hmm.
But Tennessee hasn't scored an SEC game in a long time in the first quarter. So that that and even against NC State, that was a close game until they got that 99-yard pick six there towards the end of the second quarter. So they've started all these Power 5 games slow outside of Oklahoma. So that is interesting. Other than that, like, if it is a close game, you almost would have to play Tennessee second half. They would, because Kentucky struggled so much in the second half.
Yeah.
But that's kind of where I'm looking at. Both of these teams have kind of been under machines this year, so I think the under has some value.
Something to consider.
Game. But just run through these starters, Nick, that are out for Kentucky on defense. Maxwell Hairston.
Yep.
De'Aaron Jackson.
Yep.
J.J. Weaver.
Yep.
And then, you
Jensen
haven't had Josiah Hayes. Dunn, more of a reserve, but yeah, you can throw him. I mean, and G.J. Waller is questionable.
It's a lot of players who play regularly.
I mean, that's not even counting Dunn. That's like, at one point, that's 5 guys that if they weren't starting, they were playing a lot of snaps. That's like half your defense. It's just a lot of attrition on that side of the ball. And then offensively, like, this is a tough game, I think, for Malachi Wood. I went back and watched the tape, and I didn't think he played as bad as, the PFF grade said he did. Obviously, he had some struggles, but I thought he kind of held his own. But this is a tough, like, for Kentucky's line, it's just, I think you made a good point. It could look like that South Carolina game. Like, that is absolutely 100% on the table. But if you can protect it all, I think you can throw on this Tennessee secondary. But that's easier said than done. This front is just wrecking games. And they are the reason Tennessee is where they are and could get to the playoff. It's because of this defense, specifically this defensive front.
Saturday night, 7:45 in Knoxville on the SEC Network. Another late night kickoff. I want to talk briefly about the Halloween night game, a great weather game. And that's where we're going to be playing PrizePicks. It's going to be 73 degrees in East Rutherford, New Jersey, for kickoff between the Jets, and the Houston Texans. And I know that they haven't been exactly offensive dynamos, but I'm going over to PrizePicks and I'm scrolling to the receiving yards, and I'm looking at Tank Dell, who's going to get a lot of targets because Nico Collins and Stephon Diggs are out. And I'm looking at Garrett Wilson, and I know there's a lot of weapons for the Jets, so it's hard to select which guy's going to be the right guy. So PrizePicks, I'm going to toggle down to where you can get both with the little green goblin, more than 39.5 receiving yards. That's going to pay 1.5 times your initial wager. And when you put in promo code KSR at PrizePicks and you make a $5 wager, you're going to get $50 into your account from PrizePicks. Terms apply. That's simple. So download the PrizePicks app, the best daily fantasy sports app out there. Choose a couple squares, put in promo code KSR, play $5. You're going to get $50 loaded into your account at PrizePicks. That's promo code KSR, $5. You get 50 into your account. Terms apply. We got a nice little winner last week. Like that one it was a $20 play paid 75. So let's keep the good times rolling. Let's keep these winners rolling. And I don't know if they do PrizePicks for horse racing. I don't think you can do a square for horse racing, but I'm fired up for the Breeders' Cup. Yeah. It's just there's 14 races like it. It's the World Championships. 14. So many choices, so many options. And a fun thing about this year, the last time they were at Del Mar, they had 2 Japanese horses win, and it was a big damn deal. This year they have 19 horses running. And one of them, and now I can't remember his name in the Classic, Forever Young, he came in 3rd in the Derby. It was the best finish ever by a Derby horse. He's intriguing. So one advice, if you're going to bet the Breeders' Cup Classic, do not take the favorite. Beat the favorite. Do not try to play City of Troy. He's never ran on dirt before. He's only ran on turf. And his trainer, Aiden O'Brien, he's probably going to win. He's got 10 horses running the Breeders' Cup, but all of his horses are turf horses. He only has 2 winners all time on the dirt. So beat City of Troy. I kind of like a long shot there. Oh, man, where'd it happen? I just had my picks pulled up. Too many tabs open. Gosh, I hate when that happens. I've got way too many tabs open, and I can't see who I'm going to play. Here it is. I mentioned Forever Young underneath. I also like this horse Arthur's Ride and Mix 2. Those are fun long shots worth considering to play underneath Fierceness in an exacta. So I like those horses. My favorite long shot, I know some people like long shots like it. It's the first Breeders' Cup race on Saturday, the Filly and Mare Sprint. And I've played Vava before. That's a nice horse. Ways and Means, good horse. But Pleasant is 3-1. That's 3 wins, 1 second in 4 career starts. They're moving him up in class. She's never raced against competition like this. But she's trained by Bob Baffert. I like the bloodlines. I like the trainer there. I like Pleasant at a good price as a long shot. 12-1 morning line. I'd mix it in with Vava and Ways and Means, and 1 Magic Filly as a couple of long shots there in the Filly and Mare Sprint. And then here's 2 favorites I really like. Race 7 on Friday, the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. Brad Cox is good with fillies. Idiomatic was probably going to win back-to-back, or not back-to-back. I think she came in second last year, but she's been one of the best in that division. She had to retire. But Immersive is the 3-1 second choice in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. Give me that 1-win bet. And then another Japanese horse, Ikaro Sieg, in the first Breeders' Cup race on Friday. Race 6, that horse is dominant, and I don't think the field is very good in that one. So those are 2 favorites I like in these Breeders' Cup races. If you hit a couple of these favorites, you build your bankroll, and then you can really get frisky. I didn't mention Torpedo Anna because she's such a short price. I feel like you got to single them if you're doing a multi-race wager. So I love the Breeders' Cup. if you're one of those who wants to do the pick threes and pick fives, like just go deep. I don't think you'll regret it. I mean, this is where you throw in a couple long shots and it can be a lot of fun. And even if it's chalky and you're getting your money back, like having that, all right, like we've got 4 favorites, we're one long shot away. It can make your day. So I'm fired up for the Breeders' Cup this weekend. Hopefully, we get a couple winners home, and it's going to be different too. Like since it's on the West Coast, uh, the times, like I don't think the first Breeders' Cup race, like race 8, is going off at. Oh, they don't have the times pulled up here, but it'll be like 4:00 in the afternoon. So love that we're going to get some night racing. We don't get after dark, but we're going to get after dark horse racing on the Peacock.
Is it only on the Peacock?
No. So some people were mad because they moved the Classic. It's not the last race. It's like right in the middle. So that one will be on NBC. There's also some sprinkled in on USA as well.
They're doing the golf thing where they put some of it on Peacock, but not big things.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure your betting apps, you'll still be able to watch the individual races on there. So yeah, let's get some winners. Oh, one other I didn't mention on my preview that's going to be on KSR tonight. Didia is a horse that like I blindly play Didia because it's won as a big price multiple times for me. And then there's another one. I think its name is Rousham Palace. There's never been a horse named Roush in the history of horse racing. So you bet your sweet ass I'm betting the Roush horse. There's no way around it. Like I got to bet that horse.
And I'll never hear the end of it if that ticket cashes.
Oh, no.
Oh, this weekend.
I've told you about 3 Technique before. 3 Technique is racing this weekend.
3 Technique is like he's the people's horse. He's running and everything.
Yeah.
Every time
He's
I look
always
up, 3 Techniques in a race.
It's Derby Day or it's there's a Triple Crown race. 3 Technique is racing on the undercard. It's guaranteed. There's no way around it.
Cal Ripken, just an iron horse.
Oh, I love it. Great last weekend of horse racing. I told Luckett because we're actually it's KSR, so we're driving to Texas. If it was a little bit later, we'd be stopping at Hot Springs and going to Oakland if it was a week later. But they don't have any live racing going on, so unfortunately. But I'm scratching that itch. I did pretty well the last time out of Keeneland. It was a little chalky, but I did all right. Did all right that day. Federal Judge was a winner that day. That's going to be racing on Saturday. That I got a close eye on. That's going to be a fun race. So a lot of choices. Hopefully you pick some winners. Hopefully you got some winners from this podcast.